Hey guys, welcome back to 2000 and something, the worst movie review channel on the internet.
It's terrible.
That was probably the best intro we've done thus far.
Incredible.
All right.
You guys don't even know. We record intros so many times over and over again. Rest of the video, we just go rolling. We don't even do anything. Intros, we do it. We can't do them.
There's a lot of cuts, so I'm gonna try not to get on tangents this time, like we can't generally do. But for today's video, I don't know if you guys noticed, but we got a whole new setup here.
Nice.
I put a little bit of money into some decoration and some lights, so hopefully this new aesthetic works. And for those who haven't seen our past 3 videos, go check them out because they'll be posted by the time this one's posted for sure, because this one's after the second episode of Moon Knight.
Indeed.
Some pretty tasty stuff right there.
Yeah, insane levels of varying quality.
That is the second episode. We kept losing it. So I think a lot through this video, I'm just gonna have to stand up.
Yeah.
And between segments, just so I can make sure we don't lose recording like we did last time. So without further ado, guys, what we are reviewing today is gonna be this.
Anime?
Yeah, we're doing an
Nice.
anime movie this time. It is gonna be A Silent Voice, one of my personal movies that I enjoy. I was gonna say favorite, but I don't think it's my favorite.
Yeah.
So I've seen it quite a few times. Will just recently watched it. So without further ado, let's jump right into the video. All right. So Will, do you want to lead us off? So on a scale of 1 to 10, what would you rate the movie?
I hate to do this, but I think I'm going to give it a 6.9.
Because you wouldn't recommend it to people?
Yeah, it's a really hard thing. I think it's a thing with anime. It either gets me so it grabs me. I love this. This is my new favorite thing. I recommend it to everyone. Or it just doesn't catch me and I don't care for some reason. And this was one. It was like every individual scene. I'm like, oh, this is pretty good. This is pretty good. But then I'm just like,
honestly,
I don't care that
one of my
much.
favorite things was the art style of it. I did enjoy the art.
Mm-hmm.
It did kind of remind me of like a Studio Ghibli film too. That's what I thought. That's why I thought you may enjoy it a bit, because of just how the art style is with that.
I really like how the main character is drawn. I like his character design.
Yeah, and I enjoy the story too. This movie has made me cry quite a few times.
Right.
And well, to your 6.9, I'm gonna have to give that a solid. That's not correct. I'm gonna have to give it a solid 8. I would recommend this to people who haven't seen like actual anime movies. It's not like one of those like a lot of anime. There's a lot of popping coming from that.
Yeah.
A lot of anime has like over exaggerated body parts, obviously, so that's what gives anime a bad name. But this movie kind of has people proportioned properly, how people should be proportioned.
Right.
A lot of P's right there.
There is, I will give it though, there is some times when the animators are like, how should we frame this shot? I'm thinking we're having an emotional moment. What if we just make the entire screen this woman's butt? So we can capture the true emotions of this dramatic story.
You had to say "but" as I'm taking some Pepsis here. I mean, you're not wrong. I mean, I feel like that's every anime movie.
That's every
though.
anime.
So like, they have to put a little fan service into there because they have to appeal to a mass audience. But at the same time, I feel like it had a kind of, the premise behind it was pretty good.
What about the premise did you like about it? What
I kind of liked how it talked about people who were born differently, and like people who are deaf, or people who struggle with like different like depressions or anxiety or whatever mental illness it will be, or physical disability it may be. I like how it like speaks on that, and it shows a lot more realism than I've seen in a lot of other anime movies. Like for example, the Studio Ghibli films. I love those movies, but they're not realistic whatsoever.
Right. You don't. You want a movie where they're not going to the spirit world to scoop coal.
Hey, Spirited Away was a pretty solid movie. Same with My Neighbor Totoro. Solid films, but there's not enough realism behind it to kind of tell like an actual story to like it talks about real things, and that's why I enjoyed it so much.
Right. See, my only problem with it is I thought at times it got and all anime is like this to an extent, but it got too melodramatic for my taste. And I felt that at times characters acted in ways where, I don't want this to sound harsh, but it was almost like the tiniest thing happens, okay, it's time to kill myself. Because that's a
You're
major,
not wrong.
That's
You're
a
not
major
wrong.
theme in this is people.
Yeah, I feel like they could have just like it could have. I mean, maybe that's how some people are. Like sometimes the tiniest thing can send the person over,
Right.
after everything building upon it.
Mhm.
I mean, that kind of makes sense, but I feel like they should have done more context to like, besides this that sent them over.
Right.
What else? Like, what was the build up to get to this point as well?
Mm.
So I feel like that could have been done a little better.
Yeah. Speaking of lack of context, there was one scene which truly I don't understand, which was the scene where they're on the bridge and the main girl, who is deaf, is attempting to tell the main character that she loves him.
Oh, I love that scene.
And he can't understand. She has known him in her life for the second time for about 6 seconds.
No, this is after like months though. This isn't. It's not like, oh, this is like a few days after they met. This was like, it was pretty. It doesn't make it. The movie doesn't make it seem like that, but it's a
Right.
lot more well spaced than it perceives.
I understand that there's supposed to be a time gap there, but it really just felt like we were like, she's forgiving him, kinda, maybe. I love you. And
Well,
I'm
I think she also had like a crush on him as a kid,
right.
so it was like a still like childhood crush, maybe like first love situation. So like, oh, he came and revisited, like he come back and he's apologizing for everything. He's being such a grown up, and like he's even learned sign language. Like even him, like she like was surprised that he learned sign language,
Right.
and like even as a kid, I'm pretty sure he had a crush on her. Like he thought she was attractive, and like it just she as a kid you don't really know how to develop those feelings. So he was mean, like he was really mean, but still like as kids, like it's kind of common, like kids are mean to the people they like.
Can we just talk about when he reached into her hair and yanked out that hearing aid and it popped and she started bleeding out of her ears? I've never felt such just need to cover my ears in my life.
I know what you're talking about.
It was horrifying.
To say the least, yeah.
Right. Ugh. I just imagine something being connected to your head and then just yank. Ugh.
I mean, I've seen like kids with those like implanted ones in their head too. I'm not sure if like it was like the one the guy I'm talking about had, but like because this one was like in his skull and in his skull,
Right.
And yeah, so I mean, I'm not sure if it was like that, but I know they can connect it a lot deeper than like just put in your ear like an earbud.
Yeah. I think just about all of the characters, there was one character that I absolutely hated, but I think that was I know is very intentional, which was that one chick who's just like winds up being the main bully at the end.
Oh, the girl with the black hair that's also in love with the main guy.
Right.
Yeah.
Besides from her, I really liked the characters.
Bro, I love the best friend.
The best friend.
The best friend was like one of my favorite parts, and like because one of my favorite scenes is when him just wearing like the USA shirt.
Yeah.
And like here, we'll just put the picture in my hand right here.
Yeah, the Hollywood.
Yeah, I
Yep.
love that. I like it when like Japanese shows have like American stuff in it,
Yeah.
and like how like he was like becoming friends with Shoya, like how they did like the little dap up thing, and like he got the French fry dips and ketchup and like, see, now we're friends, and I'm like, bro, that is so cool.
We're just smoking.
Like he was smoking a French fry. I'm like, bro, that is awesome. I wish I was your friend, man. You seem like a cool dude.
He is straight up just the guy from My Hero, though. He's got that head.
Yeah, but
That's
he's not
Asparagus
a
head.
pervert like the guy from My Hero.
What's that guy's name?
So do you remember like in the intro scene where he lifts up the curtain and there's just a black guy there?
Yeah.
That's his
Just
brother-in-law.
His brother-in-law working out. A
Yeah.
little tiny weight.
Oh, I loved his niece too. His niece was adorable. Just
Yeah, sorry.
So one of my favorite scenes is when the niece is like, "Show, I thought you died. You died." And like her grandma or I guess his mom's like, "Yeah, he did die, but now he's back."
Right.
I'm like, huh? Yeah, because that's how it works.
Speaking of, Whose mom reacts like that to the idea that their child attempted to kill themselves? She's really just like, I knew it. Yeah, I solved the case. I'm burning your money.
Like, and like that. Honestly, that hurt me to the core. Just watching that money go up in flames. I'm like,
yeah,
all his stuff he can't buy back now, bro.
How much is 14 million yen?
Probably
Probably like $50.
no, it's not $50.
Probably like $500.
Alexa, exchange rate 15 million yen to US dollar. It was a lot of money. He sold all his stuff.
Yeah, I feel like, ooh,
That's how much money he owed his mom too. Taking
$100,000.
like, yeah, it wasn't like, oh, here's $1,000.
Right.
It was a lot of money. Like, he could have bought a house with that.
He's got a lot of comic books.
I don't know how much they were paying him at his job or where he got that amount of money, but good night, that was a lot of money.
Yeah. I had some problems with how Shoya's character was handled towards the end of the movie. I really felt like he was getting to a point where every character was kind of like, you're the hero, we're so sorry we mistreated you. And it's like, at the end of the day, he bullied her relentlessly as a child, and she forgave him, and he grew up to be a much different person. And what you do when you're 5 years old or 7 years old or however old they were does not decide how good of a person you are the rest of your life.
I didn't think him being made out to be the hero. I think he should have been made out as the main character though.
Right.
Like him, but I think him like at the very end, I like the scene where he like all the X's across people's faces, or was it X's or like crossed out?
It was X's, yeah.
All those X's off people's faces were flying out. It was kind of him overcoming his problems, which I think is an important part.
Right, and I did like that part. I just kind of like around the part where he fell off the building and like got injured. I started feeling
he did save her life.
Right.
Well, but he shouldn't be like oh, they should be singing praise to his name.
Right.
They should be like grateful and like, oh my gosh, like this guy is like he's a nice guy now. He's different. They should have acknowledged instead he is a different person now.
Right.
He isn't the punk kid he used to be. Which they did kind of do that, but I think they over gratified him.
Right.
In a sense.
But like at that point, he's back at ground zero. Like, being a good person puts you at ground zero. When he was a bad person as a kid, he went below that. And so him getting forgiveness and coming back and learning sign language and doing all this awesome stuff is just getting him back to
being a
zero.
Good person. Yeah.
Right. You're not every character we've seen in the entire movie needs to come up and be like, we're so sorry we mistreated you this whole time.
I feel like the people who like, because they kind of ruined his like middle school life and then his high school life. I feel like they should apologize for like they basically, I'm sorry that we casted you out and like put you in a corner, made you by yourself. I feel like they should apologize for that, but I feel like that also helped them develop as a person too. That's why I think some kids do need to get bullied to become the person they are. Bullying, it's not a good. It's like bullying to a point. It can get really bad, but I feel a little bullying can actually make a person turn out to be a lot better. But I mean, it's kind of like a coin flip.
You should never bully someone, but being bullied might make you a better person accidentally. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like in this movie.
Yep.
It's time for everyone's favorite segment.
Everyone's favorite segment? This time you do it.
I don't have my phone.
No, you don't need it. Tell me what it is.
It's time for Will reads Joey a bad review, and then Joey reacts to the words Will just said, or this acronym, which is probably closer to the first video than the last two videos.
It'll be different every time. All right, Joey, are you ready to hear this review?
Yeah.
2 out of 10 stars by TV Potato Cat. Boring, not very realistic. There are a few things that I didn't like in this movie. I would expect a drama to be more realistic than any other genre, but it's just not the case here. Unfortunately, in the reality we live in, most people wouldn't care if they bullied someone. But in this movie, not only everyone who participated cared, but also everyone else around. The plot is all over the place. The point of the movie isn't made clear. The motives of the characters weren't clear. The main character wanted to kill himself. The reasons weren't fully explored. The audience was left guessing. The deaf girl wanted to kill herself too. Okay. Why? They said something about hating herself, but why? The actions and the motives of the characters aren't clear. The characters were unrelatable at all. Most of the side characters were a caricature of their bad traits. The two main characters were pretty boring. At the end, apparently Shoko felt bad about something. Was it about leaving class back in middle school? It's so ridiculous, I think. Hope I understand it wrong. But if not, it means they left one of the main issues in the movie unclear. I'm yet again left guessing. Really could have gone without this one. What are your thoughts?
First of all, all these events happened when they were in freaking elementary school, dude, not middle school. And the only reason I know that is because in Japan, middle school, they start wearing uniforms. Elementary school, they don't wear uniforms. And unrelatable. Are you kidding me? Like, do you not suffer from any mental illness whatsoever? How dare you? How dare you criticize something you don't obviously understand? All right. Let me get my composure. Okay. So, what are the main bullet points here, Will?
Okay, so, and I actually agree with some of these, not necessarily the ones that you've pointed out already, but the number one, which I forgot about this one, but I did not understand, was at the end, Shoko felt bad about something, and she was losing her mind, and she was apologizing, and I just, what? She didn't do anything wrong, like the whole movie.
Well, I think, I'm not saying she did anything wrong, but I think she was blaming herself from, because I think they're referring to like when the group stopped hanging out and everyone stopped being like really cool and close.
Right.
I think she was blaming herself for that. She wasn't necessarily blaming herself for the events in elementary school. Those were not her fault whatsoever. And if she was blaming herself for those, that's not a good thing. But I think she was blaming herself for the group breaking up. She feels like it was her fault that everyone like went their separate ways.
And this one I also agree with. They're talking about how in real life, nobody cares if people are bullying people. And in this movie, the main character gets ostracized from humanity because he was bullying a little girl when he was way younger. And I don't think that's realistic. I don't think anyone would have cared whatsoever that he bullied
I feel like
elementary.
that's true. But I think I feel like they may that the people who like spread the rumors about him, they were exaggerating it to a point to where they might have not shown it. I'm hoping that they didn't show it just to make it make sense. That they may have exaggerated it to a point, and then rumors began to spread. Like it's like a game of telephone,
right?
Like whoever hears it last is gonna hear complete different message than when it started. So it's gonna be a bunch of things that it builds up, like just people just over, and it just made him be cast out.
Right.
So like, and the whole thing about like him not wanting to kill himself, like him wanting to kill himself, it wasn't clear. I think they did make it clear a little bit more later on that him being like outcasted and him like within his, because I'm pretty sure he had anxiety. That's
right. Yeah.
Yeah. He had social anxiety. Well, he developed social anxiety. And then it also generally, like with that combo, depression comes with social anxiety because we're social beings, and so we want more social connection than us just being in a room with a bunch of people. So I feel like that's just me going based upon what I can remember and what I've seen.
Right. I never was like, oh, I don't understand why he's depressed.
I feel like this person might have been on their phone when they were watching this movie.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, there's some points, like some characters are not relatable whatsoever. Like the girl, I did not relate to her. This is what I said in the beginning. Right. I didn't really relate to her that much because I haven't had anything in her situation.
And she seems hyper emotional for an 18-year-old. I feel like if they had played her as like a 13-year-old, maybe
it would have made more sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And maybe it's just because like she was more sheltered.
Mm-hmm.
Because she was at an all-girls school, wasn't she? No, she was at I think, no. I can't, no, she wasn't at an all-girls school. I wouldn't want to, I don't think so. But I think it's because, like, her world was a lot more trapped in.
Right.
And so a lot of stuff right now may have been more amplified to her because she wasn't used to what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if someone who's, like, born in chaos is used to chaos.
Right.
So she's not necessarily wasn't around something that was more similar to that.
Can we talk about for 1 second the absolutely bizarre moment when the main girl's little sister informs the main character that she is the main girl's boyfriend? What? You
I mean, she kind of looked like a boy.
I know, but she was drawn like at the self-awareness of the character to go, I look like a boy, and I'm gonna say I'm my sister's boyfriend.
I think she kind of like I think she was going for a tomboyish look too,
Right.
which would kind of like think, oh, I kind of look like a boy. I mean, there's people now who are like there's guys now who look like when they're not wearing any makeup, they look like guys. So like even guys can look like girls. So it could be the same way around.
And I'm not doubting that. I'm doubting
like a pubescent, like
prepubescent.
Yes, that word.
Yep.
Kid can kind of like girl can kind of look like a guy. Same with a guy can.
Right.
So.
And I'm not doubting the fact that people can look like whatever gender they look like.
Yeah.
But can you imagine a world in which you had a brother, an older brother, and you said, "Oh yeah, I'm his girlfriend. So back off." Imagine that. Imagine just the act of being like, "Yeah, I'm actually his girlfriend. So why don't you back off?" What? Has she done this before?
I feel like she has.
There's
no way she hasn't. Or she just nonchalantly, like, just says that and just like with like straight faces it like because I can't imagine like if I said something like that like right now, I don't think I'd be able to hold a straight face or like be able to like act it out. Like that's just not my personality. Maybe that's just her personality. She's just serious all the time. She could sound serious.
That's a different kind of thinking.
That review deserved half a star. They gave it a 2 out of 10. I give them a 0.5 out of 10.
Ooh.
That's a terrible review. Ooh. Like there's no way that they were watching the same movie as me.
Yeah.
Either that or they just don't. Their life's just perfect. Because there's the show I related to on so many levels. Like the understanding, though the mom was kind of weird.
Yeah, the mom's
but my family's weird too. Let's be fair. Okay. So, any final thoughts, Will?
My final thoughts are I think it's not bad, and I think the evidence that you love it so much is exactly why people should watch it if they think they'll be into it. I think I'm just so hit and miss on anime that it either is my favorite movie or it just doesn't catch me, and I'm like, I kind of don't relate to the characters, and it kind of just floats by me.
Well, this one, like, you gave it a 6.9.
Yeah.
So I mean, that 7 is when you recommend it, kind of. But a 6.9 for you is saying like, yeah, I kind of liked watching this movie. I'm not planning on watching it again anytime soon, but like I enjoyed it a bit.
If I knew someone was exactly like me, I would not recommend this to them. But if I thought they might be a little bit, I don't know, different things that they enjoy, then I might recommend it to them. Everything's specific.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'd recommend it to people who are more, because like I said, I cried through this movie like multiple times after me watching this movie. Have you ever seen Erased?
Erased? No, I have not.
Oh my gosh, that movie made me cry a lot too. Not movie, show. It was a show. If you haven't seen Silent Voice, go give that a watch. But if you've seen Silent Voice, go give Erased a watch. And if you want a good cry, go give it a watch. There's a lot of twists and turns that like send me overboard. Just Gonna cry now. All right, guys, that's the end of the video. And before we sign off, Will has a special announcement. Go ahead, Will.
Oh, this incredible announcement is that this video was part one of, I don't know, let's call it a 2-part series. We were watching one of his favorite anime movies, and next week, or not next week, but next time we will be watching one of my favorite anime movies, and it will be rather less emotional, I'm gonna say, less serious topics.
I don't know about you, but like when I checked out the preview for it, I'm like, this seems like a weird preview, and then I checked out the preview for my movie, and I'm like,
yeah,
this preview doesn't help it either. Like,
yeah, it's
the previews for these movies are not that good. So I will just say that.
It is called Summer Days with Ku, and it's about a weird Japanese frog monster.
It's I think it's called a kappa.
A kappa, yes, a kappa, and it's excellent. And we will be watching that soon.
Yeah. So without further ado, guys, don't forget to like, comment, and then subscribe, and comment down what movie review you'd like us to do next. But we might not do it. But we might do it. But we might not do it. But we might do it. I have said this before in all the other videos, and yet we haven't gotten any comments on any movies or shows to do next. So, yeah. So if you comment, I'll make this promise now. The first person to comment down on this video what we're going to watch next, we will review it.
Oh, no.
I'm looking at you, Grandma. Bye. This one's for you, Will.